Hello, I'm Scott Soshnick. That silence you hear is when Eben Novi-Williams usually chimes in, and lazy guy, I don't know, he couldn't be in the studio today. I have no idea why. Does anybody know why he's not here? I didn't even ask him.
Called out.
Yeah, there we go. Like Gavin, Kaysen, thanks so much. KZ Provisioning, thank you
pleasure.
so much. Bree Rosas,
Thank you for
CEO.
having us. Yes.
Thanks for coming in. Like, holiday time is always a great time to talk about food.
Always.
And by the way, I mentioned Cookie Puss before. Did you know if I said Cookie Puss, would you know what that is?
I'm not going to lie, I don't.
Oh my
I
God,
don't.
deciding with Eben. Gavin, you have to know.
No.
Really? This is so bad for me because Eben's going to use this against me. It's a Carvel cake. It's like the most famous Carvel cake.
See?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Fudgy the Whale and Cookie Puss.
Fudgy the Whale I knew.
Oh, so Fudgy. All right, so you knew one. Still no Fudgy?
No,
though?
Yeah,
no.
I knew Fudgy, but yeah.
All right, so who wants to go? Gavin, why don't you tell me
Yeah.
the genesis of KZ Provisions?
So we started the company. It's a little over 9 years old now between myself and Andrew Zimmerman.
Who's, by the way, is going to be on the Sporticast, the Sportico Sports
Which
Business
maybe
Show.
we should say that the reason that there's silence here is because he's not here either, right? I don't know where he is. But we started the company about 9 years ago. And honestly, the way that it started, I went to go visit two of my friends that were playing pro hockey for the Wild at the time. I went to see them after their skate, and they were having lunch, and they were eating fish sticks. And I was like, really, fish sticks for them? And I said, why do you guys eat that? They said, well, it's Tuesday. I said, what's Wednesday? They're like, pizza. Thursday,
it's like elementary school
burritos.
day, pizza day Friday, right?
Yeah, and I was like, wow, they're not kidding. Like, this is how it's built. And in my mind, I'm sort of like doing the math of payroll in the room. And I thought, if I was the CEO of this company or if I owned the team, I would make sure that they were fed way better than this because my kids are eating better than them. And so I wrote up a business plan. I called Andrew and I said, hey, here's my idea. What do you think? I'm going to send it to you. Make edits. He did that. And then 2 weeks later, we sat down with the GM of the Wild and we signed a 3-year deal with them. And kind of the rest has been history. So, that was one team. Now we're with 4 teams. Those are all Minnesota-based right now. But the intention behind KZ has always been to provide the best hospitality and food for the athlete that we possibly can. You couple that with nutrition, you couple that with data, you couple that with the athlete itself and what it is that they think they want versus what it is that they need. I mean, we're there to personalize every experience that they have when they're off the ice, off the court, off the field, and it comes to food and beverage.
I told Andrew this. I think you guys are coming along. I know you've been there for a while, that you're looking to expand at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Because all I keep hearing is health and wellness. Mm-hmm. Now, whether you think that's your personal trainer or whatever, a significant component of mental well-being, of building muscles, all of it, is the nutrition. Is that part of the message of what you're trying to get out there, Brie?
Yes. Well, Gavin and I actually had exposure to each other when I was a senior executive at the Timberwolves. So I saw what the food was before KZ Provisioning came in and how players responded, and I saw it afterwards and how they responded, and it was night and day. But what is crucial for any provider to be successful is alignment with front offices, coaching and staffs, how to performance, etc. So it wasn't just a culinary partner, it was a performance partner. So they know who needs to gain weight, who needs to lose weight. You're going to be eating differently on a travel day versus a game day. You have an off day, what's your plan there? And they looked at it very holistically, from in the practice facility, how players eat on the road, how they eat at home, and really developed a system for them to buy into that, again, fed into like the larger cultural philosophy of the organization.
Is it getting easier, Gavin, when you talk to athletes, the buy-in? Andrew talked about there's a trust factor that needs to be developed. But I assume, and if I'm wrong, please say so because everybody else does, but I assume the message is received with open ears and open hearts these days because they see it and hear it everywhere.
It is. It's gotten a lot easier. And part of that, I think, is due to our track record and sort of that, the sports, especially the pro sports, it's a very small community. And so as these athletes then get traded to different teams, they start talking to one another too, like, well, what we got in Minnesota for our food was X, Y, and Z. So it's been easier for us to get those athletes on board for what we want to cook for them and what we want to do with them. It is the trust factor, and it's also education. It's teaching them why. For so long, they've been told what to do at such an early age of their life because they were always sort of the best version of that athlete in whatever community they were playing in. And it was like, okay, now you're going to do this. Now you're going to do that. Now you're going to do that. But often you're not telling them why they're doing it. We want to walk them through the process. Like, this is why we want to feed you this way. This is what's going to happen. You're going to see the results. If you get an extra year on your contract that you didn't think, that results in real dollars. If you get to sign a bigger contract because you follow this program, that results in real dollars. And we've seen this happen. And so once we see that, the buy-in is pretty easy.
So now, Bree, you joined recently as the CEO of the company at a time when they're looking to scale.
Yes.
So what's the plan? How do you scale this business? How do you convince other professional sports teams, if you have to do a lot of hard driving? They might not know who you are.
Right.
So what's the plan?
Right. Well, after the Timberwolves, I opened my sports advisory and I consulted with teams on a lot of, how to do things more innovatively, how to move the needle and really be a modern or progressive franchise. And one of the biggest things was food. Like, I would see where they're eating or what their chefs are preparing for these athletes. And here's a beef option, a chicken option, and a fish option. And that was it. And so like this,
by the way, that's pretty advanced from 5-10 years ago, because there's a whole lot of crap being consumed. Right. I've seen hot dogs at halftime.
Yes. But if you think about, like, players are assets right now. And don't you want to treat your asset and get the most out of that? You might have this player for a year. So Gavin and Andrew and their team do a really good job of personalizing it per player. So one player might eat completely different than another player based on, it could be dietary sensitivities, it could be their blood type, it could be, again, what are they feeling for? Is it game day? Is it a non-game day? What do they like? Like, obviously, some of these players might be 19, 20 years old. They want a spicy chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A. We're not going to maybe encourage them to go there.
Wait a minute. You said you're a hockey mom. You know where the kids want to go after games. Where are they going after games? I know where the bus is lined up. Yeah. All I ever hear is, I want Chipotle.
Yeah, Chipotle.
But what's great about the KZ provision chefs, they're like, no, stay here. I'll just make a healthy version, but we'll taste the exact same. And even if I could do that for my kids, hands down, I would do that. But it's a really exciting time to join, because as more teams are going to be looking of, how do I sharpen my pencil? How am I doing things better? How are we doing things more modern or progressive? How are we getting players to want to stay here? So a team might, have a realistic timeline of, this is a rebuilding year. But if I'm a player, I don't necessarily want to go somewhere to rebuild. But if I know that they're going to take care of me better than anyone else, I know that this year I'm going to eat better for my physiological needs versus any other team, like, there's major upside. And especially in teams in different size markets, you have to get really creative with how you care for players and how you want them to buy into the culture of what you're trying to build there.
Give me an example, Gavin. You're going to do a chef for an NFL team. Mm-hmm. So the Vikings come to you. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got 300+ pound guys. Yeah. Off season's different than in season. I get all that. Yeah. But just give me the volume of what you've got to do.
Well, I mean, the volume of food that goes to, say, the offense or the defensive line is going to be a lot bigger than the wide receivers. But that's all easy for us to figure out and to do. They eat a ton of food. The NHL is the never hungry league. I mean, those guys just eat too. It's insane how much food that they can consume. But they're burning the calories, they can do it. So it's all about, what's the nutrition, right? How do we get that nutrition in there, and what does that look like? The other thing that we come across too, and we've always come across this with some of the athletes, especially since we have a lot of hockey and basketball right now, is that, their backgrounds are so different. In the hockey team, I might have some Russian athletes and some Swedish athletes and Americans and Canadians. Like, all the breakfast orders are different.
What's the oddest request you've had? Say, wait, I've never dealt with this, and I don't know how to cook borscht.
We definitely have had that. Borscht has definitely been one. Pierogies. We have one skater on the Wild that, during playoff season, he loves Chinese food. I don't know why. He says to me that it was because when he was a kid, like when he would be driving home with his dad after big wins or big games, they would stop at this really great Chinese takeout and they'd get Chinese food. So I think it's just sort of this nostalgic memory.
I'm say it's Baldy, even though I don't know who it is. Baldy wants Chinese food. I can see that driving home. That's what I'm guessing. I know you can't say.
I'm not telling you.
What's Kaprizov want? Like, what's he eat? He's anything he wants these days with that new contract.
But he's actually a smart eater. I mean, he's like so dialed in on his body. He's so dialed in on his nutrition and what he is. The one thing he does that always shocks me, still to this day, is that if he goes into the players' lounge when we're cooking for all the players, and the food is coming up and it's not his yet, he'll bring the food to the players. And he'll okay, there you go, Matt.
He plays waiter. Well, he just wants to get to his food quicker. He's not nice.
Yeah, exactly.
He just wants, if he figures
let's go,
speeds up
the line.
Exactly.
Move this faster. But it's just it's really interesting to see their dynamic approach to what it is food is. We've had some athletes where sometimes they'll come in and they don't eat. There's a lot of superstition behind them. So some won't eat any breakfast, and then they'll save it, and then they'll microwave that later on, then eat breakfast with lunch, and you ask why, and it's like there's no rhyme or reason. It's just superstition. That's all they've been doing. That's how they've done it. So what we've learned is to adapt to that. Don't try to change that. Just if they're going to do that, fine. But then how do we make sure that what they're getting is the right fuel for their body?
Can I use you for a second? I mean, really, can I use you for my own personal reasons here?
Yeah, selfishly. Let's go.
Yeah. So, again, we discussed, everybody who listens to this show knows I have a 16-year-old hockey player, Fool. Yeah. He's got a superstition.
What is it?
And he will not change.
Okay.
And it's driving me crazy.
Okay.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
He will not put a water bottle on the net. Which means the only time he's rehydrating is in between periods.
Yeah.
He doesn't skate, whatever. I'm trying to get him to do like the dried fruit in the locker room. Mm-hmm. But would you tell, because every now and then he'll listen to the show, would you tell I call him my focus group of one, tell him what an idiot he is being.
Yeah, no, he needs to have water.
No, strong language. Come on, tell him what
he's an idiot.
He's an idiot.
Jackson, you 100%.
Jackson, you are an idiot. It's
you
not
100% need to hydrate when you're out there. There's a goalie that my son played with when they were younger. I brought all the kids freshly baked croissants and pain au chocolat before a game at breakfast. Some ate, most of the parents ate it, to be honest with you. But the one goalie, ate a croissant, and it was the best hockey game he's ever played in his life. And his mom comes up to me 2 weeks ago, and she says, he still will not play a game without eating a croissant from your bakery.
Oh, funny.
She's like, so I just go to your bakery.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Yeah. She says, so I just go to your bakery and I buy dozens of them and put them in the freezer and just heat it up. I know the he'll have a croissant. Jackson, get your water bottle. Tape it to the post. I don't care.
I'm telling you, you got to find. I don't care. You want to be crazy and have this superstition. I don't care. You have to find an alternative. You have to. You can't not drink.
Well, as he's looking at college teams and probably has aspirations beyond, like what are those players doing? They're doing hydration tests. They're doing the spit tests, and those are all interconnected to what we do. Again, gone are the days where team chefs or nutrition is just a budget item. Now it's a performance tool. So you can tell your son, if he actually wants to perform at a higher level, he needs to lock in and stay hydrated.
Preaching to the choir here. I mean, it's unbelievable. Anyway, so Pri, tell me again, you've worked in pro sports. Mm-hmm. What is the evolution you've seen from the inside, from the outside? You talk to a lot of folks. What is the evolution of specifically nutrition? The science is definitely there. Yes. I know, again, I use my kid as focus group of one. His TikTok feed is now filled with, I don't know the bona fides of these people, but they've got their diagrams. Here's your colors, here's your carbs, but he's inundated with that stuff. Yes. It seems to be everywhere.
Yes. Well, if you look at even, I came to the conference last week where if it's sports as an asset class, and we're talking about team ownership, the next big wave of assets that our investors are going to be looking into is going to be sports adjacent under the sports performance umbrella. So this is just one category within that. And as we're hearing more, superstar athletes talk about how much they're investing in their bodies, who can help them sleep better, who can, prepare their food better. Big money is spent on that. And what we're doing is we're taking that approach and bringing it to collective teams in a really personalized way. So again, where, superstars might have budgets to have really highly trained private chefs cater to their every need. Rookie in the NFL might not, but he can be on a team that has that philosophy of, we might have you for a year, hopefully we'll have you for 2, 5, 10 years, but you can feel good with what you're consuming here is going to get you to perform the best of your ability through food.
Your body is an engine. If you hear the engines in the back, by the way, we're right on Fifth Avenue recording. We've got the Veterans Day Parade going past us. I think all the Harley Davidsons are going by right now. So,
but like you were saying earlier, I mean, take your son for example. I mean, it's the way it is built now. We do not let our athletes, whether they're a rookie or a veteran, come into any league and not perform at the highest level for us. Right? We want to see them perform at the best, the highest level all the time. And so we have to figure out how do we get them there. We're a small part of it, but an incredibly important part of it. And the way that we've always thought about it is like, it will have this trickle down effect, you know? I mean, you see all of these superstar athletes that can pay for these private chefs and pay for all these things. Well, as it trickles down and the teams start to absorb that cost, and they say, yeah, no, we believe in our athletes too, and we want to pay for this, that's going to go down to college. Then that goes down to, you know, it just kind of keeps going down. So in that way, for Jackson as an example, it's not an argument if you need water, because he sees everybody around him saying like, no, this is important. I got to do this.
It's all becoming professionalized.
It's just not my dad doing it now.
Yeah, it's all becoming professionalized, even the lower.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And especially in college with, you know, this NIL space, you could have a player, you're paying him $2 million a year and you're going to have him for 1 year. Don't you want to get the best out of him in every capacity? How he trains, how he, you know, is coached best. What's his mental health like? How is he sleeping? How is he eating? Like, all of these things are hyper important, and food is the most personalized thing a player experiences at a team. Like, if you think about it, that's the most personalized thing. And there's different psychological effects to food. If someone's, like when I was at the Timberwolves and Kaysen Provisioning was there, we had a rookie who would not get enough protein at breakfast. Mm-hmm. But we knew he loved his mom's eggs. So
that's the easy one. Hard boy, here, take some eggs, dude.
But he would not.
He would not eat the eggs.
Mm-hmm.
So we flew his mom up.
Oh, I love it.
To walk our chefs through how she makes her eggs.
So he walks into the practice facility that morning, and his mom's in the kitchen with us. And we look at him, we're like, will you eat our breakfast now? And he's like, of course.
So it didn't have to be, mom just needed to be there once. It didn't need to be mom, but mom's eggs, the way she did it.
Again, it was the trust factor.
Yeah.
You know, and we understand that. Like, this is the thing. KZ Pro is not set up to be a transactional business that way. We're a hospitality company. That's our goal. How do we give you the best hospitality process through food and service and all of those things? That was one of them. Now, we were lucky that we had an organization who we were working for that recognized that, you know, in the way that they think, and said, no, this is really important to us. Let's fly her up and have her be there. It was crazy.
Mark Cube. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
But it was also like this player's mom, you know, walked them through how she makes her eggs, and then our chefs made some adjustments of, okay, that might not be the healthiest version, but we're going to get closer to, so this player tastes your eggs through now our eggs.
Yeah.
But again, it's like that level of care. That's hospitality at the sports level. Is, okay, this player, he's not doing this. How can we go above and beyond to show him this is how we care, but also go above and beyond to have him fueled the right way?
All right, so sometimes there's some coddling. That's okay.
Yeah.
So, but Mark Cuban said years ago, the only people that I pay or give longer-term contracts than my players are my doctors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I've known Mark for a very long time, this would fall under that umbrella.
Yeah.
It would be anybody
Yeah.
that is taking care of my players
Yeah.
so that they can perform better, so that they can have better, longer careers, and I get more ROI from my $100 million investments.
Yeah.
When
Absolutely.
Gavin and I were actually talking about me joining Kaysen Provisioning, he was like, what's your biggest, concern, or what's going through your head? I'm like, how do we replicate Chef Ryan, who we actually had at the Timberwolves, and who is heavily involved in the company and is training more and more chefs and really oversees that capacity, because he, as with all of the chefs at Kaysen Provisioning, again, it's not just a chef job. You have to understand.
So you're like embedded with the team.
Interpersonal skills.
What, if I may, how many, what's your team look like when it embeds with the team? How many people, what does that look like?
Okay, so in basketball, as an example right now, we've got about 7 chefs that are on staff there. We have a director of hospitality because during the games, we're also cooking for all the families in a private suite, right? Or in a room that's designated for all the families. So we're cooking for them. We have a director of hospitality who's in there listening to all of that. But we're there every day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, pregame, postgame, you name it. Win, loss, all of it, our team is there and embedded in it. And, as a result, it makes you appreciate sports in a completely different way on a professional level, because you feel the wins, you feel the losses just like they do. I mean, to Bree's point, like when we hire people, and we learned this really early on, and thankfully we didn't have to go through a lot of a learning curve, but like we can't hire a fan. We need to hire a chef. We need to hire a really good cook, because if you're a fan of that team, you're not going to provide what we need you to provide for that team. I'm grateful that you like basketball. I'm grateful you like hockey or baseball or football, but I need you to care about the people that you're cooking for in front of you, and that is a person. And that's what's really, really important. And so, yeah, we're very embedded in. I mean, they're in it every day.
All right, I'm going to say 2 words. You let me know how you're going to incorporate this where athletes are down.
Yeah.
Seaweed and bone broth.
Yeah, bone broth. They definitely have a lot of bone broth.
They're all buying into bone broth.
I wouldn't say they all are, but they do like a lot. They do like it a lot. It's easy. It's an easy filler too. What we've done in the past, because of where we are in Minnesota, is sometimes they'll land at 2:00 in the morning from a road trip, and then we'll go out and we'll take thermoses and put them in their cars filled with bone broth. So when they get into their car, they've got something to drink while they're driving home, because I don't want them to go home and eat at 3:00 in the morning and then get up at 7 to go to shoot around. It's like we need to fill them up with something. But bone broth is popular.
Hybrid, give me the sort of the balance sheet here now. This is your job as CEO, and I'm sure you've got a team of people also. What does this cost? And I know there's a difference between an 80-person football team and a 20-person hockey team and somebody else that you may be. But how can you explain to the listeners sort of what is this kind of service? This is a very personalized service. Mm-hmm. What does this cost?
Well, I'll start and then Gavin can take over. But like everything is very customized based on what a team needs, and not only roster-wise, but are we cooking at the facility for them? Are we partnering with them of how they eat on the road?
I want the platinum plan. I want it all. I want to make sure my players are taken care of.
How are we coordinating with the hotel that they're staying at to ensure it's not just a typical breakfast brunch buffet? How are they eating at home? Like, who is their private chef? Does their private chef have the same philosophy that we do? That nutrition is a performance tool, not just an everyday eating tool. But I think on the cost side, like, food is such a big cost for teams to begin with. I'm still shocked, and this is more of when I've taken the last 3 years and traveled around and visited with team presidents and CEOs across many leagues. The level of care that is not being put in there to treat players and front office and coaching staff, it's collectively on there with high-end hospitality. And I think there's such a white space for that, and it's understanding the culinary part, the organizational philosophy part, the nutrition part, the performance part. But at the end of the day, it's caring for a player and be able to read that. So our chefs are trained of not only the culinary space, but how to read a player. Does this player want to be engaged with right now? Do they not? And it's not just, wins or losses, but Chef Ryan on our staff was telling me, like, he's had players call him and be like, I'm at Whole Foods. I want to cook that ginger salmon. How do I do it? Like, that's what you want to happen. You want them to get inspired by healthy eating for their body, for their performance, and be able to replicate that at home.
So the platinum level experience, honestly, will save the organization money if they go with us. I know that seems crazy, but it's true. And the reason it's true is because we're providing something that we know they will eat. We're not putting food out there that they're going to walk up to and look at and say, no, I'm good. I'm going to DoorDash dinner. Because now they've paid for 2 dinners, one they're not eating and one they're going to eat, right? So our services will end up saving that.
You have been through, at least with one of your clients now, the T-Wolves, an ownership change.
Yeah.
What does that look like when you go from Glenn Taylor to Alex and Mark, and one obviously being a high-level professional athlete? Yeah. Do you have to start all over again? Or this is what we do? Do you get their input, or how does that process work?
Yeah, we get their input too. Both Mark and Alex, specifically Alex too, they know what it is that they want, and they're thoughtful leaders that way, and they're thoughtful with the organization and where they want it to go. So, we're lucky in the fact that we've gotten to know them through the process of the ownership change. So for the last couple of years, we've already been cooking with them. Many times I have lunch with them in the players' facility, and so they experience what it is the athletes are eating. I can see them wanting to see even more importance on, like, what does Platinum Plus look like? Like Bree's saying, like, what does the hotel food look like when we're on the road? What does the plane food look like when we're on the road? How do we magnify all of those touch points and make them even better than everybody else? And that's ultimately what we will strive towards doing, I believe, with them, because that's how they are as leaders. That's how they are as thinkers, is they're going to want to find ways to be better. We're along for that ride.
And Bray, we'll close with this. What's the most fertile ground then, looking forward in the business plan? What's the most fertile ground? Is it a sport? Is it a way of thinking? Is it a region of the country? Do we have international ambition? But where do you start? Was like, these are the folks I think are like-minded.
Yes.
Will be our next clients, and then will be the best advertising for us moving forward.
That's a great question. I think organizations who have a holistic approach and don't do things siloed. So organizations who are more modern, progressive, getting really creative with every aspect of their business. How do they scout? How do they handle their budgets? How do they develop players? So like there's obviously some that come to my mind, but those organizations who know a cultural philosophy that starts at ownership and goes down to GM and CEOs, groups that have that mindset are going to be our biggest advocates because we do it holistically. Again, we don't look at it as we want to cook for players at a practice facility and then they're out on their own eating questionable food choices. Like, it's for organizations who are bought in holistically and understand the importance of food as a performance tool.
You get one meeting with an owner and the star player of a team, Gavin. What's your go-to dish? What are you putting in front of them?
Oh, that's an awesome question. I mean, you listen, my favorite thing in the world to eat is always roasted chicken because it's a lot harder to cook a roasted chicken than people realize. Everyone knows how dry they can be. I would do something with chicken for sure. It's also something that our athletes consume all the time. They love it. It's an easy protein for them. But I would do that.
All right. Well, This is where Eben usually closes the show and we talk all over him. But I'll just thank all the usual people, Palacio, Carol, Sebastian. Am I leaving anybody out? But thanks, and you get the podcast wherever you download your stuff.
Yeah, there you go.